Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another Propagandacast straight from the Propaganda Ministry here in Denmark with me, host ImperialDane, and it's going to be an Angoville raid 2. Angoville again, yes indeed. Who shall be fighting? Well, let's go have a look at our lucky contestants. In the northern corner, we shall be seeing Stepan, a level 12 Wehrmacht of the 89th Infantry Division, fighting against the Commonwealth. Yes indeed, the vicious Commonwealth with tea and banners and whatever comes forth under the banners of ImperialDane, ready to fight for the 43rd Infantry Division. And in fact, let's get right down to it. And of course, this sort of Wehrmacht Commonwealth sort of, oh dear, sort of lost track right there, but the sort of, fight right there usually can sort of devolve into one thing or another. Although usually what you see is pioneer spam, sort of then, or well, 4 to 5 pioneers, then on to grenadiers, and then sort of probably try to drown your opponent in a tide of grenadiers. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is more or less what you're actually going to see here. Lots of pioneers coming out, no Wehrmacht quarters, and of course, the sort of strategy here relies basically on seizing as much territory as possible, thus denying it to the British, of course, who can't really seize territory swiftly. And of course, basically try to drown him using the resources he hasn't got. Also laying down a bit of barbed wire to sort of impede my early movement. Of course, I don't really care about that. I basically just want to sort of get things done. Take some territory, secure it. Usually though I go for this cutoff point because, well, I basically just hate being harassed right there. So in that sense, for me, it works out quite nicely. Lieutenant being sent over here. Lieutenant Roberts doing quite a lovely job, aren't you, Lieutenant? And the reconnaissance section, trying to seize as much territory in the east. Pioneers continuing, and again, sort of already gaining quite a bit. Slowly but surely, up to 5 pioneer teams now, and that's usually also what they go for, 5 pioneers. 1 too many, and of course you might set yourself back a bit. But up there, 2nd Infantry section on the way for King George. Glory, honor, biscuits, and note, tank traps here, basically to sort of try and prevent my Brenker from breaking through there. And again, a Brenker, for example, and some troops ending up here could really be a huge setback to Stepan right off the bat. And of course, again, usually, that's what they go for. But again, in this off chance I had done for that, and he hadn't gone for, the 5 to pioneer start, I might actually have ended up in a problem because I might have been rushing straight into an MG and some Volksgrenadiers. This is certainly not the only way to sort of fight the British, but it's certainly, as opposed to ones that for a larger part requires the least sort of action and least, I suppose, also strategic or tactical thought. So in that sense, it's really become this sort of basic Wehrmacht strategy, although the more and more it gets used, I suppose the less and less I might argue it's a strategy and just, well, not really thinking, just doing. Bunker, though, going up immediately also for Stepan. He's basically also, hoping to sort of supplement his heavy grenadier focus. In real life, on the actual war, of course, there have been a lot of grenadiers, so in that sense, it's not entirely unfeasible to go for a lot of grenadiers, but he's basically hoping to sort of supplement the grenadiers with a medic bunker, thus, denying me this sort of attritional fight against him, but of course also basically hoping to further drown me in strong German soldiers. Brenker, though, on the way, Vickers on the way, and again, a Vickers can certainly do a bit against the pioneers. Going straight for the fuel point, reconnaissance section moves in. Not fancying Jerry going for that fuel, and Duffy keeps the fucking cigarette away from that fuel point. There we go, pioneers rushing in. Brenker moving towards the north, but I rather realise this is not going to work out well for me. Infantry section, they're holding the line, hoping to do some damage against these pioneers. And of course, 6 pioneers can certainly do a bit of damage. They do the same damage as essentially the pioneer Volksgrenadiers MP40s, though they're not quite as accurate. There we go, though. Pioneer team actually goes down. That's 120 man-pounds. Certainly he's killed 2 of my infantry section men. 3. But it's still not quite as much as the cost of a pioneer team. And now Brenker rushes in, hoping to further seal the deal, do some more damage, kill some Krauts, extinguish some Jerry, beat some Bosch. Pioneers here coming under fire, and of course I believe at this stage, actually, yes indeed, reconnaissance, of course, nice quiet range, spotted the bunker up, and I'm actually continuing in with a Brenker. Why might I be doing that? Just in case to see if he's getting up that creek back, and of course in that sense, actually harass it, and though I'm a bit too late, I could actually perhaps even have stopped it, but there we go though. Pioneers, heavy damage, getting suppressed, and nope, because Bren can actually suppress. He's rushing in the Pioneers into the bunker, but that's actually not going to do much. And another Pioneer team bites the dust. That's 240 manpower. And how much have I lost? Well, 3 infantry section troops, and that's 105 manpower. I mean, I'm clearly leading here in terms of manpower, though again, medics sort of pulling in the wounded can certainly help a bit. And I get one medic, though not before he heroically, valiantly gets that Pioneer in. And another Pioneer team bites the dust. I mean, he's a bit, a bit reckless with his Pioneers, although then again he might just not be fully lucky, considering I'm being pretty aggressive with my Bren carrier and with my infantry. He's probably a bit unsure what to do when you're dealing with a Brit who doesn't bloody well turtle and sit on his ass drinking tea. And another Pioneer team bites the dust. Of course, the second thing he might be homing forced to do is basically feed the medic bunker. And of course the trouble with this is, besides me shooting the Pioneers, I mean, you actually require the Pioneers to get wounded, not killed. And of course there's always a chance they get killed. But again, go after the medics in these cases, do some more damage. And I'm basically just going for the medics in this case. Also note, stuffing troops into your buildings won't actually ensure they get wounded and all that. Grenadiers attacking in the west though. The first troops of the 89th Infantry Division did fine against the British, taking over the position after one of the SS divisions to actually try and free them up, get them reformed and also ready for the Mortain counterattack. And I'm basically just keeping up the pressure here, basically, doing something. Pack 38 though arriving, and my reconnaissance section actually spots this. Again, reconnaissance section very nice. And again, Pioneers inside the building won't provide you with wounded. Very important thing to note. Lieutenant putting up here, securing as much territory while I can. Of course, getting as much munitions could certainly be of help. Field support truck moving in, taking up position right here at the high munitions point. Will certainly give me a lot more munitions, which can certainly boost the firepower of my infantry sections. And I'm in fact getting a third one. And I might also soon be getting some rifle grenadiers. Pack though taking a minor loss, though getting quickly reinforced. Good job there. Although at the same time I was able to actually ensure that my Bren care wouldn't be immediately threatened by it. And now Grenadiers are moving towards the east, nach Ost. Casualty King Station up, and again I figure, again, Casualty King Station, generally a good idea, and particularly if you have 3 infantry sections as the British. Casualty King Station, great idea. Again, working against attrition. On your own side, of course, working towards the opponent's attrition again can help. And again, the war of attrition should never be underestimated. So again, Casualty King Station, great move, and of course ensure that it sort of, can actually get somewhere. But counter-attacking Panzerjacks are ready for the Grenadiers, which of course means I don't want to be sending in my Bren care right away. But at the same time, I clearly now have the firepower superiority. Despite the Grenadiers, of course, being good soldiers, I do have 2 infantry sections with a lieutenant. So the infantry section is certainly going to be able to do something. And why am I moving in the Bren care, you might be asking? Well, I know the sort of pack has actually been moved over there. I believe I saw it. Or then again, it's just revealed itself, so I'm not entirely sure. I was actually, now remember, I was actually trying to place it behind the building in hopes that the pack might not hit it, but I was a bit optimistic. Still, heavy losses for the Grenadiers, being a bit out in the open, of course. And I'm basically taking the most advantage out, and immediately veterancy 1 for the lieutenant. Thus, of course, improving the bonuses he gives to the infantry section, making them much tougher. Recon section moving towards west to basically harass Stepan Kapusta's 89th Infantry Division holdings. More Grenadiers arriving again. He's going defensive, also very important to note. He's also certainly a bit in that sense perhaps giving up the initiative. I would actually, most players I usually see, particularly the more higher ranking ones, either tend to go blitzkrieg or terror to sort of give some more offensive push. In case of terror to basically sort of, keep the opponent off his guard, trying to fight infantry, then go for a King Tiger and completely floor him. And what am I doing? I'm sending in sappers with the demo upgrade. What does that mean? I lay down a demo charge right here at the medic bunker. He lobs a grenade. Not quite ready though. Gets one sapper, but still, demo charge goes down. I get the troops out of there. And demo charge goes off, killing the Grenadiers trying to evacuate the building, knocking out the bunker. Again, demo charge, great investment. I'd say, it's really underestimated by the side of the British, and again, great way of basically sorting out bunkers. So consider that. Jerry! And of course, you know, again, this sort of again implies to sort of, you know, keep your bunker safe, not at the front line, you know. Some Brit might decide it's fun to place demo charges. Grenades getting lobbed at the reconnaissance section. Fighting courageously against the Grenadiers and Pioneers, though they are going to soon be outgunned. British medics bravely pulling in the wounded Tommies. And he's certainly not going to be getting any replacement for his Grenadiers anyway soon, due to the sort of sudden and immediately lack of, well, a medic bunker, plus, you know, Grenadiers getting killed. Brenker being run off, getting some repairs for it, and again, having all these munitions, in particular having one secured, really gives a British player a lot of munitions again to use. Sappers fighting here in the west. Fighting against a lone Grenadier with some Pioneers. I'm basically just trying to get the Grenadiers, actually. I might actually decide it should have been a better idea to get the Pioneers. No, never mind. Me being silly, my Sappers proving me wrong. One Sapper goes down. And lone Helmut faces the Tommies. And Helmut lobs a grenade, killing all the Tommies. Basically, one Grenadier took out an entire Sapper team. Although the Sapper team was wounded still, I suppose he'll have something to write home about if he survives.
A victory location is under attack.
But continuing to push forwards. Captain should be ready. There we go. Stewart on the way, replacement Sappers. And of course reinforcing at the field support truck. I mean, they can be used for reinforcements. Okay, Pioneers doing what they can there in the west. Another bunker up and fresh Grenadiers for Stepan Kapusta. And let's go have a look at him actually. Hiccup, sorry. Slightly pulling back here. Medics once more moving in to pick up the wounded. Stuart light tank ready. American tank, although the British were quite fond of it, although it was slowly getting phased out. And was more and more used for basically reconnaissance and I suppose infantry support a bit. Still, lovely tank. Can be quite effective if handled properly and can certainly do a bit of damage. And of course I'm moving up here on the flank because I'm essentially hoping to flank the Pack 38 and getting from the rear. And there we go, rifle grenades upgraded. I don't go for the Bren gun. I do go for the rifle grenades. And there we go, attacking the Pack 38 from numerous sides. Panzer Shreks on the Stuarts. Bren carrier doesn't quite do as well in the charge. Bit my own fault there. Heavy damage to the Stuart. Half-track arrives. 89th Infantry Division getting some support from another Panzer Division nearby. Rifle grenades keep flying into there. And that was actually a pretty half-effort charge, which clearly didn't work out for me. I had apparently underestimated the Panzer in this case. Happens. But Grenadiers are suffering losses. And some Pioneers get caught out in the west by a reconnaissance team. And there we go, infantry section put together by the castle clearing station, thus earning me a pretty discounted infantry section, thus giving me more firepower to use against the Hun. Half-track though does arrive with Pioneers, thus forcing away the troops there. And there we go, rifle grenades, 2 rifle grenades, basically just killing quite a few Grenadiers and Pioneers. And I suppose now sap Piers as well, just in case of that half-track. But again, I mean, I'd not recommend underestimating the rifle grenade. It can really do a lot of damage when it hits. Second Stuart ready. I'm not quite ready to give up the idea of a Stuart tank doing something good for me. And in particular, I'm basically just sending it over to deal with that half-track. And again, pushing forwards with rifle grenades, Pied rounds and everything else. Pack sort of hiding. Hoping not to get caught by the Tommies and terrible things done to it. Bunker not quite up yet though for Stepan Kapusta. Morgan, no, he's actually getting a mortar team. That's hoping to sort of bombard my positions while I'm bombarding him with rifle grenades. Further heavy losses, there we go, medic bunker on the way. Stuart tank hunting down the half-track. Mortar setting up.
We are losing ground.
The Mittlere Schützenpanzerwagen could be going down. And another Pioneer team bites the dust. For 89th, they are certainly suffering heavily in their Pioneer company, or battalion for that matter. But another medic bunker up ready, and might soon be ready to pop out another Grenadier team to fight for the 89th, to show those Tommies who's the true soldier. And the Granatenwerfer immediately sets about bombarding British positions. Getting healed right next to this Casualty King station, pulling back a bit for a bit of reinforcement. Grenadiers advancing, Stuart moving up to support. Grenadier gets sniped, in fact. Pack ready. But not quite in range. Just not quite. Stepan Kapusta really needs something to push in again. In that sense, the decision to go for defensive might have helped him. Stuart did not survive this, tragically. But sometimes you have to be aggressive and risk things. Again, running into a lot of fire from the British. Rifle grenades, just regular Tommies. Mortar rounds flying, and of course in this case around the no, oh dear, there are mortars, and there we go, heavy losses, and a Sapper team again gets knocked out, and a Grenadier actually secures a Piat. That is quite ignominiously bad for me at least. But charging in, basically figuring this is actually pretty open, not quite defend. And what am I doing, you might be wondering? Rushing in the Rifle Grenadiers and trying to get that mortar. Quite interesting though, he actually decides to secure the Piat, perhaps just to deny me it. Of course, prepare in case against any armor. And the mortar team gets knocked out by the Rifle Grenadiers. And then it's actually time to get out of there. And another infantry section gets ready. Armor command truck arrives, but gets pelted with Piat rounds. Grenadier team actually gets reformed for Stepan Kapusta. And is that time for that mid-game analysis? Current situation, well, it's a bit mixed. Stepan Kapusta, though, is taking heavy losses. He is trying to push, but he's not quite never actually succeeding because he's perhaps, lacking something a bit heavier, and he didn't get that mortar out in time. At the same time, it's certainly not going too smoothly for the British under me. Suffering some losses, in particular the Sappers are getting quite the beating, and they're not doing too well. But now with an armoured command truck, things could be changing. But again, I think Stepan Kapusta really needs to consider getting something like a Sturmarmory or a Panzer Command in that way, trying to basically hammer his way through. A Nebelwerfer would do him great. Stuks or an armoured car could also do the trick. If he sticks to the Grenadiers, though, things might not quite work out in his way, again, particularly because he's going defensive again. He's not giving any sort of thing that could quickly take over some sort of offensive force. No Stormtroopers, no Stu 42s, no Tigers or King Tigers. Bit of a problem there, I think. Let's return to the fight. And infantry section still fighting here, though heavily wounded. 14 kills to their name. And flags getting prepared. And there goes the Pioneers again. Tragic, that mess. And Commandos dropping in right here. And some of you might be asking, why am I driving here, not behind the enemy? Because basically, a glider, as long as it's in your territory, can also act as a reinforcement point. And that's essentially what I'm hoping for to do here. Basically having a forward point to fight from. In that sense, increasing the pressure further on the German commander. His Grenadiers getting hunted down with accurate Sten gun fire. The Grenadiers wishing they had some nasty submachine guns. And laying down a demo charge on the bunker. Grenades on the commandos. And a Grenadier team gets gunned down. Oh, and there was a Panzerschreck. Didn't do much though. 2 Grenadiers down. Bunker almost down, but due to defensive, the commando demo charge doesn't quite knock it out. But still, heavy pressure on the German commander, and again, he's basically lacking something to really sort of effectuate that breakthrough he needs. At least he might want to consider getting another mortar, and at least trying to protect it a bit better next time. And some lone Grenadiers on the western front, doing a bit of work there. Pack moving forwards. Veteran D2 on the way for his infantry. And the Grenadiers are once more pushing for the fatherland, advancing under heavy threats. Slightly pulling back here towards some more defensible positions where they can also perhaps reinforce a bit. Quite a bit of rifle fire. Commanders moving in on the western flank. Captain, oh dear, Captain Hastings went down. That was quite tragic. But commanders moving through the Grenadiers, mowing them down. Pack quite a bit forwards though. Has to be careful of that. And there we go, commanders ambushing the pack crew. And now Veteran 2 up, certainly going to make his troops a bit more resistant. He probably might want to consider getting that a lot earlier though. And again, he does seem to be a bit tardy with his veterancy. Usually, I mean, Grenadier spam or more perhaps Provision 1 would probably have gone for Veteran 2 a lot earlier. But Meg's moving in. The wounded half-tank on the way. Points being secured right over there as well. A bit of pressure. Pack secured for King George. And another infantry section moves up. Could have been even, you know, one more put together. I believe actually during this fight, I get about 3 infantry sections put together. Fun little fact there. And the British continue the fight in the west and in the east. Half-check once more moving in to do a bit of harassment. And looks like he might be pulling off a more successful assault with Grenadiers. Although, I mean, it might be an idea for him to, at this stage, perhaps consider getting perhaps an LMG to increase the firepower further. I do believe the LMG is actually slightly better against British infantry. Hang on. And just in time, the Cromwell arrives to possibly save the day or get pelted with an anti-tank fire. But Panzerschrecks, Piats, and more rifle grenades. And what could be Stepan's response? Another pack? No, another mortar. Perhaps another Panzerschreck at least then. One more rifle grenade actually being prepared for the Tommies. Rifle grenade, rifle grenade. Those ones more increasing the firepower and flying towards the Germans. Cromwell joins in, getting a good hit. Note, tanks actually don't suffer any penalties against infantry targets like that. So there we go. 2 Grenadiers die a horrible death. And the rifle grenades just keep flying. In this case, though, they seem to be mostly missing. And apparently the flag is already reporting a bit of a bug there. Hang on. No idea why Flaps decides to be silly, but pack going up. Grenadiers get grenaded. Oh dear. And good luck, have fun from Cheeseburglar. Commanders moving in, hoping to set off a demo charge. And gunning down those unfortunate Grenadiers. And then moving in to quickly sort out that Flak 88, which has been set in to support the 89th apparently. Commanders though continuing to suffer heavy losses now as they're further exposed. Medics keep pulling in the wounded, keep pulling out fresh Grenadiers. Absolutely bloody fight, an absolute grind. And the rifle grenades just keep on flying. And he just keeps on blobbing, which of course can be a bit of a problem with so many rifle grenades nearby in the long run. And a glider HQ gets prepared as well. Could it be that I'll call in soon? Come on, call it in. Grenadiers though still fighting tenaciously amongst, well, the pretty blood-spattered ground. I was actually getting quite a few Grenadiers out of that, although he's probably also losing some. And force reinforce, but also quickly regroup and counterattack. More rifle grenades on the way. Lieutenant barely makes it out of there. And a pretty thin defensive line gets erected, but in this case he's not getting quite able to the Panzerschrecks to the fore. And a counterattack by Tommies and some commandos save the day, forcing away the Germans. And more rifle grenades. And he is quickly counterattacking to again try and contain the British threat. Getting a few commandos as they advance. And the commanders basically decide to sort that. Let's go for the bunker. Let's knock out that vicious Jerry building. Pioneers trying to move in. And of course, commanders on heavy fire. What do? Deploy smoke. And then you begin laying down the demo charge, giving them time to essentially lay it down. He tries to drop a grenade, but it's not quite where he thinks it is. Pioneers actually get cut down even. And demo charge kills a Grenadier or two nearby, in fact. It looks like, or just that's medics. And the fighting just persists. With a close to Veterancy 3 Lieutenant, there we go. In fact, gaining me 1 command point on top of all of that. Just lovely. And a grenade right into the midst. And I think that actually knocked out an entire infantry section somehow. Quite the blow right there. But lots of wounded, lots of medics. Except for the Germans, of course, they've lost theirs. And once more charging right into a barrage of rifle grenades. Calling in some decoy smoke. Basically, I don't have the munitions, but I'm basically hoping he doesn't know that. And further harassment right here in the west. Half-track might be an idea to actually pull towards the front now. And there we go, HQ glider is up. Now I just need a heavy machine gun out actually to support me, because again he's basically blowing up Veterancy 2 Grenadiers, and here's the thing. Unlike what a lot of people like to believe, Veterancy 2 Grenadiers do not gain a bonus against suppression. In fact, they get easier to suppress. Only False Grenadiers and Knights Crossholders actually get harder to suppress with Veterancy. So fun little fact there. Another bunker going up, Stepan not giving up. Half-track now moving into alarm to reinforce his troops at the front. And there we go. Heavy machine gun commanders getting ready to support with the Vickers. Cromwell moving up without sapper support. No, that's not quite great though. Still, no much choice I think. Infantry section ready. There we go, Cromwell joining in, 6 kills. And then a Panzerdick finishes off. Less than spectacular. And the Flak 88 gets recruited. Moving in the Pack 38 to try and knock out that half-track. And the heavy machine gun is ready to set up. Now the commandos just need to actually set it up. And apparently tried to do so in the wreckage of the Cromwell. Flak 88 knocks out the Pack 38 quite nicely. And there we go. Grenadiers pretty much instantly suppressed by the Vickers machine gun. Again, do not underestimate the effect of Veterancy 2 in terms of suppression. And already some of the Grenadiers are in fact getting pinned. In the meanwhile, another round of Grenadier team moves in to open up on the Flak 88, provide some nasty fire from this building, making things a bit more dangerous for the Germans as they are out in the bloody open. And of course a bit of actual artillery barrage right there could finish it off. Commandos send off a Grenadier team in the west. Half-track moves in, gets hammered by the heavy machine gun, seemingly. It even seems to be doing very, very little damage, but still doing some damage. And there we go, artillery on the Flak. And for some reason he actually moves the Grenadiers towards it. Though they do not get hit. The one Grenadier team who was in the line of fire did not make it. And note again, the half-tank is again surely slowly taking damage. Which is not quite well. Flak 88 getting recruited by some dashing. Never mind, the Panzerdick got them. Half-track down, Grenadiers murdered, or slaughtered, massacred, shot. And these Grenadiers are under a pretty heavy barrage of rifle grenades. Flaps. And let's return to the fight. As you might have noticed, this is sort of the end of the line for the Germans more or less by now. Although again, another 4-team Grenadier force. Moving forward, and once more the HMG sets up. And more or less again immediately suppresses some Grenadiers. Although they do get off a grenade on the commandos. They do not stop the commandos though. Although it looks like this could be a retreat for the Commonwealth.
Force their hand down to 50 points.
And there we go. Fighting heroically is not quite enough in this situation.
Company commanders report a section is clear.
And one section in fact goes down, oh dear. Oh dear indeed. Alles verloren.
Collapsing.
Certainly not the highest morale amongst the Germans of the 89th. They've certainly fought hard, but not hard enough, I'd say. Or one might argue that Stepan Kapusta has not been leading well enough. Mortar once more moving up. Might actually have been better served with an MG42, but he can't get that. But again, he might have been better served with a Sturmarmee or a Panzer Command. And some actual sappers again, just in case. Infantry section once more reformed. I believe that might actually have been the third team. And a veterancy free lieutenant. And machine gun team moves in as well. Mortar rounds actually begin to fall. This is less grand. But commanders flank the entire position, thus forcing away the mortar, at least making sure it can't refire that much. Except one round actually hits quite nicely into one of the main thrusts, but there's still one on the flank. And the MG continues as well. Interesting enough, there's been no attempt at really securing munitions from any of these wrecks. And the mortar simply gets pelted with rifle grenades. Will it make it out of the heavy machine gun firing in support? For the fatherland actually protects against suppression in this case. Another grenade doing a bit of damage. And a artillery barrels right here on these Grenadiers. And victory points pretty much draining in, so let's just speed this up for the last few seconds. And there we go, game over. Victory for the Commonwealth, a loss for the fatherland. And of course, what can we learn from this video besides, how might one deal with a pioneer spam? I mean, certainly he made some mistakes, and of course one of those primary was again basically giving up initiative. He didn't really give him a chance to really allow himself to get something to push up because he went defensive. Nor did he get a Sturmarmee or Panzer Command, which in the end sort of bereft him of thing once I really managed to stall him. And of course once I got the heavy machine gun, things really went against him. But of course, I mean, methods for dealing with a medic bunker, basically, either get some sappers demo charge or commandos demo charge. Those are certainly some of the ways to deal with things. Rain carriers nice, and of course be a bit more careful with these stewards, although again, don't just sit around doing nothing with them either, I suppose. But there you go, I do hope you enjoyed this game. If you did, why not subscribe and tell your friends, and if you didn't, well, why not send a replay of your own? This is ImperialDane saying cheers.